from Kabul by Zmaryalai Abasin. He's a political analyst from Afghanistan. Thank you very much for being with us today. First and foremost, we're talking, today is Wednesday. Just 2 days ago, we saw images of thousands of people who were trying to flee, with images that circulated worldwide from the airport. Afghanis trying to board American planes. We're hearing of British planes trying to evacuate some people who were working for the Brits in Afghanistan. On the other hand, earlier today we spoke to people in Pakistan, and we're hearing that the border there is not seeing a wave of refugees. What is the situation as you see it on the ground at the moment? Are people trying to flee? Are most of them staying put, waiting to see what the Taliban brings about with their rule?
Well, hello there. Thanks for having me. The situation erupted suddenly. It was a dramatic change all around the country. It collapsed at least in 15 minutes. The major cities collapsed in 15 days, almost 2 weeks. And Kabul was not expected to be fell to the Taliban that soon. And everybody was shocked. It was a dramatic day, and then suddenly the president flee, and no one had any idea what's going on in this country. Even the Taliban never had a vote on Kabul streets and roads, nowhere. And when I was walking, I was just coming to office, and then I saw people were running, and they had no idea where to go. But there was a very bad day, as you have been seeing Hollywood movies, that whenever there is something big happen, the people are shouting, crying, and running everywhere, but they still have no idea. So that was the day. And now, after that we have been talking, it's 3.5 days now, and everything changed. According to the recent report I got from Kabul airport, there are still a lot of people waiting to find a chance. Whenever they see a plane, it's like an angel of rescue for them. But unfortunately, in many cases, that angel of rescue or the planes killed them, not intentionally, as far as I know, and as far as you've also seen the videos. But people that panic they had, like they are being killed at the moment. If they do not pick themselves to the plane, they will be just killed. More than 1,000 Afghans and hundreds of U.S. embassy workers and diplomatic mission staff have already evacuated from Kabul airport, and there is still chaos inside the airport. I was just seeing videos of people were still doing the same thing. They even experienced the same thing. That's not a good idea to stuck to a plane, which is too fast. If it flies more than 100 or 200 meters from the earth, then they will fall down. But I don't know what's wrong with them, but they are much afraid. Is it the Taliban or in the cities and roads of Kabul? They think that they will be slaughtered, assassinated, killed. I don't know what is the idea, but it's still a question for me. I cannot make my mind.
I assume it's these are deeds of despair. What we're seeing, people clinging to airplanes. That leads me to my next question to you. We've heard from the Taliban saying this time they are different. This time they will allow liberties to women, to people who are not extremely religious, etc. Can we believe them? Would they stand by their word? Have they performed anything in the last few years that will allow us to take their word as is?
Still hard to believe them, but as I see, there are two types of Taliban now. The political Taliban, they're plus their commanders, those who command their policy, And secondly, the military and the armed Taliban, who are just in streets and roads and everywhere all around the country, particularly in the major cities. We have been just receiving news about some clashes, some misuses and ill behavior just this morning. But there was something everybody was expecting to trust Taliban. Still, they have to prove this as they are talking about things, the change that they believe have. I've talked with them closely, the top leaders from their political delegation and their team in Doha, and they were emphasizing they're really changed and they will bring changes, and they are still emphasizing their delegation of the Taliban, led by Mullah Abdul Ghani Baradar, the co-founder of the Taliban. And I just heard their press conference held yesterday. They were emphasizing on the changes they will bring according to the human rights, journalists, and minorities and every single thing. And they say they have forgive everybody, and there is a full immunity order from their supreme leader. But it's too early to decide about the Taliban, as we also heard from their once and for a long time anonymous spokesperson, Zabiullah Mujahid. The first time he appeared in media, and he was emphasizing the same thing that their political leadership is emphasizing. But for me, for everybody, we have to watch on the Taliban. The Taliban have to prove their change. Even though they're emphasizing on these things. Somehow we see changes, but they are, as I said, from one side it's too early, from other side it's not something which has some specific frameworks and through which they could go and follow their policies. That's why I say let's wait and see what Taliban do. And of course there are a lot of challenges.